Living. A million people will do it a million different ways, but how many people actually understand the art of living? Eat, drink, play, that's not enough. Living well means having the right attitude. That's the Dolce Vita life.
All these years, whenever we hear about beauty contests, we typically reference to beauty contests between beautiful women. But there's more to beauty contests, I would say, especially those that typically involve mostly men. Men fantasize over them. They're right behind me, fancy automobiles and classic cars. Today, how would I say I bring you guys to an international classic car contest. All right, let's go find out more. Often romanticized by men, antique cars indeed capture the hearts of those who love nostalgia and rare automobiles. If you think you can only see these beautiful cars only overseas, think again. Hong Kong has much to offer at this significant annual beauty competition for antique cars. Hi Justin, as the Classic Car Club chairman, what was the reason behind your inspiration for these beauty contests?
As for the beauty contest, the concours d'elegance, we've been doing the contest for many years already in the club. And the reason for that is really, first of all, have a platform for enthusiasts to share their pride and joy, and also to give a recognition to the owners who have spent a lot of effort, time, and money on their cars.
So if I were to buying an antique car, say maybe tomorrow, can I see it as an investment?
I think realistically for most people, most enthusiasts like myself, I wouldn't recommend going towards the investment idea because yes, while cars, even the more common classic car, the value may have gone up. But as we mentioned, a lot of time and money needs to be spent while owning such a car. So I would advise against going into classic cars for investment purposes, but just enjoy the experience and see where you come out of it.
Justin, this car has won the Best Engine Award, but I did my background research. I know this car was manufactured in 1995. Is this a consideration of why it was chosen to enter this beauty contest?
Well, based on our club's requirement, technically, any 20-year-old car can be considered as a classic car.
Okay.
But this one is definitely a 100% classic car based on a few elements. First, its brand. Secondly, is the 12-cylinder model, which at that time was the brand's flagship model. And thirdly, and most importantly, this is a limited production model.
Wow.
They only made 501 of these cars worldwide. And this being a right-hand drive model makes it even more rare.
So would this be one of the elements in this beauty contest? What is the judging criteria for the awards?
It has to be original, no modifications, it has to be clean. But having said that, it can't be too clean or too new. It still needs to show some patina. If it's too new, then it's what we call a too over-restored, which is not a good thing. So this car has the perfect balance of originality and also the patina and age.
Yep, I can really tell why this was a car favorite, definitely. This car transcends time.
Absolutely.
At this prestigious event, there are many award winners that share the spotlight. It takes a lot of resources to prepare for the contest, and the competition is intense, such as the Best Coupe winner. Congratulations, Arthur! Your car has won the Best Coupe Award. How do you feel?
Yeah, very happy and proud of that. Yeah.
And you can finally take it out for a nice drive.
Yes.
Now, Justin said earlier that your car is in top condition because the exterior and the interior is kept very well. How do you keep the maintenance with the car?
Oh, okay. Actually, if you want to keep in one of the classic car, you need to have a cover area to park your car. If you can have an enclosed area, you can keep it temperature control and also the humidity control.
That's very important
yes,
for the
yes,
interior.
Yes, right.
So I know some car enthusiasts, they tell me that whenever you have have an antique car, you have to take it out for a drive once in a while just to get the engine moving. Is that true?
Oh yes, you need to start your engine, and you depend on the weather. So if like today, sunny day, so I can take a car to going out. And usually I like to go to like the airport area, okay, or like the Disneyland area, so that you can get your car running smoothly.
Oh, okay, okay. I really like how you kept the car so beautifully.
Yes, right. Yeah. The car you can find out like a piece of art or like a piece of the sculptures. Sometimes I like to be seated beside to have a coffee and to get relaxed, enjoyable, for your life.
And then you can just enjoy watching it all day, I'm sure.
Right. Yes, that's what I did.
Hello, Michael. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you have any personal stories to why you started this love for antique cars?
Well, back in the days, I would say designers really didn't follow the trend. They sort of design, from their heart of how they feel. And it's every car is pretty unique.
Authentic.
Yeah, rather than nowadays, basically there's some cues of design lines that they follow. So back in the days, I guess that was what really attracted me.
So I would like to ask you, when is the first contact you've had with this car?
First contact with this particular car was, it should be about 3 years or 5 years ago. A lot of car fans will know that every night before they sleep, they go on the internet looking at cars.
Then
They might not buy it right away, but certain cars that you like, you will probably be following them. And then hopefully one day the owner might let it go. And that was what happened to this car. So it ended up in an auction house in England. So that's how I got it.
Wow, very nice. And I really like cruising in these cars because once you go in, it feels like a time machine.
Yes, I call them a time capsule.
That's a nice way
it brings
to
you back.
say it,
Because even the smell, it will bring you back to the good old days when you bring a lot of memories back.
I love that. I would like to learn more about it when we go cruising later.
Sure.
French cuisine is a celebration of seasonal ingredients, using delicate cooking methods, beautiful and elegant plating. It's really just like art to me.
I fully agree. And here, you can really enjoy the spectacular view of Victoria Harbour whilst having one of the most unique French fine dining experiences.
Well, obviously we are here in a French restaurant, so the basic cooking technique is about French-based, but I will add the theatrical elements into it. So a lot of tableside, a lot of for the eye, and I like to bring a lot of work from the kitchen out to the table.
The first appetizer is a French scallop. The scallop tartare with buttermilk and caviar tastes tangy and sweet and so delightful. The second is a foie gras. The foie gras in the shape of a morel mushroom served with truffles. Creamy, delightful.
The menu of Taste of Today is basically our spring menu, so basically it's all about ingredients, really. I keep pretty much the same cooking techniques, but it's all about the ingredients, because I think, we are just the middlemen as cooks, so we are between the producer and the consumer, and we're just the middleman. So it's just really about what's in height and season. The only thing which never goes off the menu is a red prawn, so that sticks with all the seasons because it's such a popular item. Has become, I don't really like the word a signature.
So what I have in front of me is a red Spanish prawn that is humongous. It's probably the biggest Spanish prawn I have ever seen in my existence. Now, the great thing about this particular Spanish prawn is actually Chef Uwe has a relationship with the prawn catcher in Spain. The head has been roasted with binchotan, which is like a Japanese charcoal, and then the heat transfers down into the tail a little bit. So I'm gonna eat the tail just a little bit, and the tail is semi-cooked, which I love. We have this garum here, which is a traditional German way of making prawn paste. And I think they make it in-house with whiskey barrels. So here goes.
So I wouldn't know how it tastes like half raw.
I mean, half raw, it's amazing because you still have that sashimi give of the raw prawn, but then at the same time, because it's got a little bit of cooking on the surface, you have a little bit of that caramelization, just slightly, ever so slightly, and you have a different element that comes through. The flavor is powerful. It's so good.
I reckon the best part of this dish is the prawn head.
Yes.
You have to like squeeze all the juice out,
Yes.
and then you can dip it with that sourdough, and it's amazing.
You're an expert for sure.
Ooh, look at that. Woo!
That is the money shot right there. For a moment, if I just look down at my plate, I'm in Spain.
It's actually my favorite dish here.
Definitely worth coming to try.
This potato is actually from Hokkaido. It's been aged 180 days.
Oh, that's super famous.
So it's creamier, it's sweeter, and it's paired with Hokkaido uni and caviar.
Smells good, tastes good. Double plus.
Very crispy, but also very creamy on the inside. And it pairs really well with the uni. It's sweeter, but also very creamy in texture. And I think it has to do with it being frozen. Is it? You're the chef. How does it work? How does the science behind it work?
Almost frozen. So it goes in a hibernation for 180 days, and the sugar, the starch becomes more sugary.
That's why it's sweeter.
It's a very Hokkaido specific technique, and extremely difficult to find outside of Hokkaido.
So how did he get it?
How did he get it? Relationships.
It's all about relationships. Exciting.
Oh my goodness. And all those deep elements of the south of France are all coming back to me.
It doesn't taste just like fish, yeah? There's like a lot of different seafood flavors in
Yes,
this.
definitely. The fennel and the liquor, the Pernod that they use, that they put into the bouillabaisse, it's really just there lingering and tickling you a little bit. And then a little bit of the parsley oil or the herb oil is also just tickling you, just to remind you where it's from, but then the flavor of the turbo is still kept there. Chef Uwe, my friend.
How are you?
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Thanks so much for showing us your menu. It was amazing.
It's
Were you
delicious.
amazing? Was it
I
amazing?
love coming here.
I haven't come here in too long. What are the secrets behind cooking a turbo whole like that?
It's about temperature and time, really. That's all really what it is, because every turbo is slightly different. So you just have to really, out of experience, roughly how long it takes, and you just have to try. And we work with a little of thermometers, and it's an old style of cooking. So we go away from sous vide and everything else. So the prawn is barbecued on charcoal. The turbo is wholly braised. So it's really like to understand the size and what it takes in order to make sure it's perfectly cooked and rested in between.
Experience.
Yeah, grey hair.
Yeah, gray hair.
I'm so glad I don't have to follow you guys with that.
So what I have told everybody is that I think that you are probably the most humorous chef that I know.
As a German, that's really funny.
Yes, it is. But I feel that if I had to say one thing about dining and experiencing what you have to offer, I think it is about not only flavor, but something outside, a whole full experience that people can enjoy.
When I think of Vita, I always think it's a lot of fun to come here.
Yeah.
To see everything, to experience everything. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's have some fun.
I believe Chef Uwe really understands the camera eats first. With his desserts, the strawberry cheesecake comprises of strawberries from the Fukuoka region of Japan. Super sweet and tasty. The fruit de mer, meaning seafood in French, is a play on words on the plate. Fruit-inspired desserts in the shape of seafood placed on a seafood tower. Delicious with a great sense of humor.
You can get the best out of daily life by instilling a little bit of refinement in your daily habits. In the West, a lot of people like to drink coffee. They spend time learning about different bean varieties and brewing methods. In this part of the world, the Chinese, of course, have a love affair with tea. And it's not an exaggeration to say that some people have teacups that never leave the hand. Some people even take things to the next level. They spend so much time learning about tea leaf varieties and brewing methods that they become aficionados and collectors. Pu'er's flavors enhance with age. That's why it's sometimes described as a drinkable antique. Today, I'm here to meet master collector Mr. Zhao, who has a unique passion and, dare I say, obsession for pu'er. Hi, Mr. Zhao. I would like to know, when and why did you take an interest in studying and collecting pu'er tea cakes?
作為我個祖籍係潮州人嚟嘅，由好細就開始飲功夫茶啦咁樣啦。10幾年前咧，我就發覺飲普洱茶更加好啊，因為普洱茶除咗佢個甘回甘啦，有香氣之後咧，佢有個水。
So Mr. Zhao tells me that he's originally from Zhao, and they have a tradition of drinking kung fu tea there, and so he grew up drinking tea. And it was only about a decade ago that he really started taking an interest in pu'er tea because of its aromas and its smoothness. And then he realized that there's a lot of knowledge associated with this kind of tea in terms of pricing and telling its authenticity, and that's how he got interested in it. Now, I know the price of pu'er tea cake can be astronomically high. How did vintage pu'er become such a sought-after collectible variety?
因為而家你要玩翻一個50年代或者100年前嗰啲普洱茶，其實就非常之難玩到嘅咁樣，所以佢造成個價錢就越嚟越貴。
Why is pu'er so sought after? Well, it's a non-replenishable resource, right? Every time a cake gets consumed, there's one less cake on the market. And in that sense, it's very much like red wine. So the cakes from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, there are fewer and fewer of those around.
譬如喺舊年咯，拍賣市場啦，咁係一片紅印咧，可以拍到差唔多100萬港紙。咁一桶頭先講號級茶咧，送拼號咧，可以去到1500萬左緊。
So what constitutes an astronomical price? Mr. Zhou told me in auction last year, for example, there was one cake that sold for $1 million Hong Kong dollars. And then there is another brand that there are only 7 known cakes, 7 pieces of known cake spread out around the world. And you can imagine if there's only 7 items in the whole world, how much are those worth? Since the price of pu'er can vary from a few dollars for loose tea leaves to a few $1 million for vintage round tea cakes, to be able to differentiate between grades and to verify authenticity require a great deal of knowledge. Mr. Zhou, you've been described as the first person to auction vintage Chinese pu'er tea. Can you show us how to differentiate between the different tea cakes just by looking at them with the naked eye?
1950年之前咧，個普洱茶係冇包裝紙嘅。後邊你1950年之後生產啲普洱茶，基本都有包裝紙嘅。
So it turns out you can tell a lot by just looking at the tea. One of the big differentiations is pre-50s and post-50s. So you see here, for example, this cake is from pre-50s. It's just the clear wrapping. You don't see a piece of paper inside, and these ones are post-50. Another differentiation is the grading. This one is called Hao grade, whereas these ones are called Yin grade. In the Hao grade ones, you can see just visually that the leaves are thicker, the cake tends to be a little bit bigger, and the tea leaves are a bit looser. But these ones have different marks. This one you can see on the face, it's only got red lettering, so it's called red mark. And then this one has got some green and blue marking, so it's called blue mark or green mark. Are there any distinguishing characteristics of high quality pu'er tea cake? And also, how does one go about verifying the authenticity of vintage and quality?
咁點樣睇佢入邊嗰片茶係真嘅呢？咁啊最簡單就睇佢個包裝個風格，每個時期佢個包裝嘅包法係唔同嘅。
You got to ensure that the leaves are authentic. How do you do that? Well, the most simple is to look at the packaging. You want to make sure this thing has never been opened before. And one of the things to pay attention to are these little holes. Now, these holes are natural holes that come about from bugs eating through the paper. And as you can imagine, there are different layers of paper. So the bugs have eaten holes through the paper, and if this were opened and someone tried to rewrap it, there's no way all the holes would be aligned. So if you can tell that the holes exist and you open it up, inside the tea is most likely authentic. Now, I know, of course, the tea making process is really important as well in terms of maximizing the taste, the quality of the tea leaves, and how the tea turns out. So tell us more about that.
泡茶心一定要靜，水一定要滾，因為一定係要夠熱力先可以將個茶個香氣發揮出嚟咁樣啦。
Three things to keep in mind, Mr. Zhao tells us. First, you have to have a peaceful heart, you have to have a peaceful mind when you approach the whole tea ceremony. Second, you have to use the water when it's boiling to bring out the full aroma of the leaves. Finally, when you pour the tea into the teacup from the carafe, you fill it about 75 to 80% full, and that's your cup of tea. Mr. Zhao, I know you told me that drinking tea for you started off as a habit. In terms of appreciating pu'er, do you see it as an interest? Do you see it as an art form, or do you see it almost as a way of thinking?
飲茶一講樂趣嚟嘅喎，係咪？三五知己喺度，咁啊一邊飲茶一邊傾偈，一邊傾下心得。
Most of the time when you drink tea, you're going to invite a few friends over, you're going to enjoy the tea drink together, you're going to share some life stories, and it's just a bunch of friends having a good time. So that in itself is an art form. Mr. Zhao feels it's very good for people to kind of take a break, and also if you're having a stressful day, it's a way of calming down.